Time now for St. Helens Town Talk Cafe with Steve Toskey. The opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of KOHI Radio, staff, or advertisers. Now, here's Steve.
Merry Christmas to our worldwide audience, and especially Merry Christmas to St. Helens, Oregon. Here we are on the last Friday before Christmas here at the cafe, and we are packed. Unbelievable. It's amazing seeing so many coming in from shopping.
Yeah.
Everybody's bringing their packages in.
They're
Kids
hungry.
in tow. They're hungry.
Food.
I know. And I think we've run out of the special. I didn't even know what it is. It's a figgy pudding, right? We have figgy pudding
today. That's what it is.
People are gobbling it up. I didn't think that anybody had enough figgy pudding to get rid of it, but figgy pudding is out. We had some carolers come by and sing Deck the Halls and a few other carols. So all of you out there that hopefully are listening and getting ready for our time ahead, don't forget the time that you're in right now. It's precious. Let that Christmas glow wash over you. What do you think, Kim?
Christmas glow.
Yes.
Yes, I love that.
Did you shop local?
Oh my gosh, I've been shopping for like 3 days straight.
Good.
4 kids. It causes a lot of shopping for presents, and I've just been like, yes, I went local. I went around to actually today I hit up Harrington's and I found a couple things.
I love Harrington's. I love it.
Yeah.
So, hey, in fact, speaking of Harrington's, here is Chris Cozy, who's coming in. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Good. How'd you like that figgy pudding?
That was pretty good.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I know that's Kim's recipe.
It's my grandma's recipe.
Yeah, let's saunter into the soundproof room and we can talk about Chris. In fact, speaking of Harrington's, Chris, weren't you saying that you had some idea that you laid on the Harrington's owner and they kind of took you up on it and doing good on that?
Yeah, back when I was in high school growing up here, I'd go to Harrington's all the time to get shoes and clothes and stuff, and I kind of put out an idea into their head to maybe pick up some younger generational brands to bring in some younger customers, and they've been doing it ever since, and it keeps selling for them. So,
what are those brands that might be at Harrington's? In case somebody's looking for that last-minute gift for their younger generation person, lay some swag on them, you can pick it up, put it in the package right away. What are those sort of brands, would you say?
So they started carrying Fox clothing, Element clothing, a lot of sports brands clothing for skateboarding, dirt bike riders.
Yeah, they have like Wrangler now too.
Yep.
And what's another one that they have?
Carhartt.
They have a ton of Carhartts.
I got my Carhartt jacket there.
And stuff I think they have there too. I didn't look at the work boots because I don't need any.
They got some cool suspenders there for those of you that, like me, that might have a bit of a stomach going pre-Christmas and you want to shift to suspenders. Make a great stocking stuffer for those of you that might have stuffed yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Suspenders.
Yeah.
So, Chris, you grew up here, huh, in St. Helens?
Yes, I did.
And let me ask you this: how old are you?
I'm 31.
All right. And so, what year did you graduate from high school?
2010.
2010, the mighty 2010. In a Lion? Were you a Lion?
Yes, I was.
So, St. Helens, born and raised. Yes.
I was born in Colorado, but I was raised here.
Oh, nice. Okay, and are you married?
I am.
And who's your wife?
Tanya Causey. She works at the Elks Lodge.
Tanya Causey. You and I ran into each other last night at the Elks, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, and I said, hey, and you asked me, aren't you the radio star? And
can I get your autograph?
I know. He asked me for my autograph.
I need a selfie.
I know. And I started saying to Chris, it's okay.
Like, that's the guy that has the billboard.
That's right.
I was just looking at that the other day.
I told the crowd, let him through. He's a local.
I know him. He's here for me.
Yeah, and so after we got done with the autograph signing and started asking Chris a little bit about himself and his wife, and I could tell you, Tanya, she's a cook at the Elks, right?
Yes.
And I could tell you from personal experience, the food at the Elks is wonderful. Tanya does a great job. And that's coming from a pro, the owner of a cafe. So there you go.
Yeah, she definitely puts the extra work in while she's working. She's one of the hardest workers I know, so I'm proud of her.
Well, I could tell you, as somebody who's recommending suspenders for Christmas, she does a great job. So Chris, okay, grew up in St. Helens, 2010. You got kids?
I do. I have 2.
2 kids.
2 daughters.
Okay, so you and your wife, 2 kids. You're living the dream. 31, married, kids. Awesome. And I understand that after high school, you had a bit of stint in the military, right?
Yes, I did 4 years active duty in the Army. I was a construction engineer while I was active duty, and then switched to the reserve component, and been doing that ever since. Just hit my 13-year anniversary back in November.
Nice. Thank you for your service.
Yes. So where did your 4 years in the Army take you?
Fort Hood, Texas.
All right, and tell me what'd you do there?
Texas.
Yeah, what'd you do there?
So I was a construction engineer, heavy equipment operator. I operated just about anything I could get my hands on, whether it be cranes, bulldozers, front end loaders, scrapers, just about anything that we had available. We'd go out, we'd build roads, ranges on base. We'd go to other installations and help do road construction and range maintenance on other installations, and it was a good time.
Wow.
And so can you still operate heavy equipment?
Yes.
How about like an excavator?
Yep.
A bobcat?
Yep.
Well, I could tell you, Chris, I know that you're going in, I know we're going to talk a little bit about your business you're going into, but do the local contractors around here know that you are capable of operating heavy equipment?
Most of the contractors that I've met, they know. Okay. And I worked with the city of St. Helens for a little bit for their public works department, and got to operate with them for a while, and decided it's time to start my own little business. So I took a break from working for somebody else, and now I'm trying to work for myself.
And what businesses are you going into?
I'm trying to get into lawn care.
Lawn care? Okay.
Yep.
Well, and what sort of services are you planning to offer?
Just your basic lawn care services: mowing, edging your grass, raking flower beds, pruning bushes, occasionally trimming trees, spraying for weeds, just making your lawn look the best that it can. And so now you don't have a name yet for your business, do you? I do not.
Wow, this is so new.
Still trying to figure
you
this out.
don't even have a name yet.
I know, and I'm going to give you some advice. You may want to go Subchapter S Corporation. You never know. You might be able to save some taxes that way. And think about it, as your capitalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I like the idea on this thing. If you get on your business card that you will contract as a heavy equipment operator, because I could tell you, I've had some work done, and it was hard to find heavy equipment operators here in St. Helens.
Yeah, most of the heavy equipment operators that I know, they're working strictly for certain contractors. So trying to find a third-party individual that can operate the heavy equipment, it's kind of hard to find just one individual to come and do a project instead of hiring a whole construction crew.
Yeah, and I got to think, so you're going to do the lawn care, but then at the same time, I think you got to keep your hands sharp. We should open the phones up 503-397-1600 in case, one of our millions of listeners is listening right now and want to. Chris, we're going to try and name Chris's business. I'm thinking right. Chris Cozy, Chris Causey, CZ.
Oh, yeah, you're stuck on that CZ.
Yeah, CZ.
Cozy but cut.
Yeah, cozy but cut. I like that.
That's a good one.
CZ Excavating, CZ Landscaping. I like that too. CZ Landscaping. You must be a landscaper. You say I'm doing lawn care. You must be a landscaper.
Yeah.
Lawn care is 2 syllables. Landscaper. That's 3.
Landscaper.
Yeah, landscaper.
Landscaper.
So how do people get a hold of you if they want to hire you?
So if anybody's interested in having me come out and bid for lawn care services, they can reach me at 971-225-2662.
Okay, and then you have different packages for people, and depending on what they need, right?
Exactly.
And also, since it's so new, you should get in touch with someone we just had on the show last week, Jason Moon. He's a small business development director. He kind of helps small businesses get their foot in the door.
Okay.
So he probably has a lot of ways that he could help that you don't even know, which would be cool. So
Yeah, was it Columbia County?
SBDC.
Columbia County Small Business Development Center. Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to give that a look.
But yeah, this is him. I'm showing him a picture on my phone.
Okay, that's fine.
But
That's
yeah,
allowed.
yes, that's allowed. But he's really knowledgeable, so
Show
I
it
can
to
definitely help.
Show it to our audience at home.
Here you
oh,
go,
wait.
everybody.
Yeah. So the reason that we had Jason in, and they've got a lot of services.
Yeah.
Really, and maybe even some money. You never know.
There could be like local grants out there that
can help you
could
business
apply
cards.
for.
And then we got Amy Butler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna do my internet stuff. She might be able to set your website up.
Okay.
Some social media.
Yeah, I mean you're like my kids' age, Chris. I'm here trying to help you out.
Do you have a social media page yet?
I do not.
Oh yeah, you should start one of those.
I've
Well,
got-
you gotta have a name though, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's the struggle. So my goal is to get a name situated, and then I can start planning to do business cards and social media platforms, so people can get online and they can see my phone number. I want to be able to give them the option to request a bid
Oh yeah.
online, so
Yeah.
they don't even have to call me. They can just request a bid and put in their information, their address, or contact information, and then I can call them.
Yeah.
And set up a time that works for them to come
Right.
out and take a look at their property, see what I feel would be their best option, price-wise and package-wise, to best benefit them for their lawn care.
Are you gonna do businesses too? Is this commercial and residential?
So I'm starting out with just residential,
Yeah.
but if I can get my hands on a couple business contracts as well,
Mhm.
I'll dabble a little bit in both.
I like. I think you should talk to Jason because I think he can help you come up with. How much money is it really going to take for you to make it in business? And your charges and what's going to be your territory, what are your expenses, so that you make sure that you set your prices where, you're not working, you're not giving away your time there. You're providing a service that people want to pay for, but you need to make a living.
Exactly.
I mean, you got a family to support, young kids, mouths to feed.
Sole provider. Sometimes that's pretty
Well,
stressful.
Tanya's working.
Oh yeah,
but-
she's working.
But,
Yeah.
you got healthcare
And you got
costs.
kids, man.
I know, and then you probably
income.
you want to plug that into a corporate thing probably, and how about CZ Landscaping and Excavation?
That's not a bad name.
Yeah, CZ, and it's a
You added the excavation on there too. That
Well,
was,
you gotta
that
get
was a
that.
nice little addition on there.
Well, Chris is going to come work for me. He's going to come for work for me next year. We're actually going to go get some big rocks and we're going to put them in the yard and make a kind of a one of these basalt planter type things you see around town. So Chris is going to help me out with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then that's why I asked him, can you do the Bobcat? Can you do? Because he's going to be rocks. I'm not going to be.
You're going to have them all lined up when he shows up.
No, we're going to go back into my buddy's place and get these rocks that are laying on the ground. They weigh a lot of money, a lot that I don't even want to lift. So that's why Chris is going to come with. Who was your buddy that you were there with last night?
My buddy Damari. Yeah.
Damari, and Chris are going to come. We're going to move some big rocks. So tell me more about you. You say you're in the reserves, and what? You say you're in the reserves. How long have you been in the reserves?
So I've been in the reserves for 9 years now. I did my 4 years active duty and then 9 years in the reserves.
Okay, and I got a family member, Kim, that works in that has been in the reserves for years, and people hear about the reserves. So tell me what it is. What's your commitment being in the reserves, Chris? Tell us about your commitment.
So currently in the reserves, if I'm not on orders, I go in once a month to my reserve center or wherever we have training to do, and we do our monthly training, and then we do 2 weeks out of the year, and that's our annual training. And that's where we go out and we do anything that pertains to our specific job to help us maintain our proficiency in our military jobs.
Okay. And so And so, what does it mean to? Can you tell me what it is to be on orders, or we're going to get like arrested or something if you tell it?
No.
So he's pushing the line.
I know.
Basically, being on orders in the reserves is if you have if I had to go to a new school to say get a promotion or anything of that nature, they would put me on orders. So I would be sent to wherever the schoolhouse is, and I would do my training for however long that was, whether it be a month, 2 months, 3 months, and they would put me on orders. So that's where I'm supposed to be for that entire period of time, the length of those orders. And that's how they can approve my pay. So when I finish my schooling or whatever I'm going to do training for, when I get back, I sign my orders and I submit them to my battalion or my brigade, and they process it and they can determine, okay, you spent this amount of time doing this training, so this is how much you're going to get paid for it. And it also equates to the longer you're on orders, the more retirement points we get. So when it comes time to retire at 20 years, depending on how many retirement points we have, of how much time we've actually spent in uniform, then that equates to when we're able to collect our retirement. For instance, so if I did 20 years active duty, by the time I actually retire, I would get my retirement benefits immediately if I stayed active duty the whole time. But being in the reserves, it works out a little bit differently because it's not a 365-day-a-year job at that point. We have our civilian jobs, then we have our military service once a month, and the 2 weeks out of the year. So if we get on orders, that gives us more retirement points towards our retirement. So it allows us to get our retirement benefits sooner rather than later.
Have you been on orders in the last 3 years?
Yes. I go on every time we do our annual training, we get orders for that.
Okay. And then the annual training, you say, is a couple weeks, right?
Yeah. It can range anywhere depending on what's required for the training that year. It can be anywhere from 2 weeks up to upwards of a month.
And can you tell us what you train, or is that another top secret thing that we can't, nobody can know? I don't want the Biden team to come swinging in here and and.
Me either.
My current role in the reserves is I'm an instructor, so I train other soldiers or officers, ROTC cadets, whatever it may be, in just relearning or just learning all the basics that you would go to your basic training to learn. So especially when it comes to ROTC cadets, since they're in college, they can't take 3 months straight to go to basic training. So instead, they split it up over a couple weeks throughout the summertime, and my unit's job is to go down there and teach them how to go to the range, how to operate the weapons, and do land navigation, do first aid, go through the sea-burn chamber, learn about chemical hazards and how to operate your gas mask, your pro mask, and teach them all the basics, so when they graduate and they finally commission, then they have already completed that requirement from the Army.
Which colleges have you gone to for this sort of training, to give the instruction, actually?
So the colleges actually come to us, and they're colleges from all over the country. Can we say where it is? I don't want the first strike to be hitting our training facility. I'm already feeling like we're giving too much information. Our show is definitely being scoped by the enemy because they're constantly trying to. That's we're tapped. So, but where is the training facility? If you can divulge it, I don't want to get anybody into trouble. So the training facility, that one I'm a hold on to myself.
Okay, there you go. Good.
It's not my position to be able to divulge that information. So
good for you, Chris. And so we are talking about the military, its seriousness, and so how long have you been doing this training in addition to your monthly training and any other training you're doing? About how long have you been doing this, where you're helping out to keep other people ready, combat ready, or whatever they need to be ready?
About 6 years now. So 6 out of the 9 years I've been in the reserves has been doing being an instructor, and it's by far one of the things I've loved most about being in the reserves is getting to utilize the knowledge that I've acquired in my career and teach that to the next generation, so I can teach them the right way to do the things that they need to do and be the best soldiers and leaders that they can be when they finally commission or get to their designated units.
Well, like I said, you're kind of my kid's age, and I'll give you a little tiny story of experience. I have some friends of ours that the guy was he's in the military, he's in reserves, and he actually retired on a very nice retirement. So, your investment you're making in time and service to your country, really, I think if you stick with it, will pay off.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So my whole family's been nothing but military. Everybody in my family, my siblings, my father, my grandfather.
Is everyone in the same branch, or are they?
Almost everyone.
Almost.
There's been a couple variations here and there.
Yeah.
So, one of my grandfathers, he was in the Air Force, and
Okay.
then we had one other one that was a Marine. So,
Okay.
but majority of us are all Army.
Yeah.
How long your family been in St. Helens?
We have been in St. Helens for 21 years.
21 years. Okay. Is that long enough? We always having the debate, like, when can you be the local? See, I'm from California. Everybody knows that about me. And, you say the California kid. That's who I am. But, I've been here almost 4 years now. But we were kind of saying your time here is one thing, but then if you're doing good,
if
that's
you can
another.
contribute to your community.
Okay. So Chris, 21 years.
Yeah.
Does he qualify as a local?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yes, I would hope so too.
Sometimes
People like him build our community.
There you go. Different lines get drawn in different places by
Yeah.
different people. Sometimes, like, if you're not born and raised here, okay, well, good. You're a local. I'm not sure. I'm not even asked if I qualify because I'm afraid of the answer. I got to be careful.
When you are turning right and you have a stop sign, do you stop all the way, or do you kind of just roll through it?
Some habits are hard to break, Kim.
I knew it. I freaking knew it.
They're tough. They're. Yeah. What was it? You need to stop on the right turn on the stop sign?
But yes,
Oh,
unless it says you can turn without stopping.
I know. I have to work on that.
Yeah.
So when did you go into the military right out of high school?
Yes.
Okay.
So I graduated high school, and I went to my recruiter. We went to MEPS. I did everything I had to do. Got my ship out date, which was in November of 2011. So I had a little bit of time after graduation to work, earn money before I went, save some money, and shipped out. And that's been what I've been doing ever since.
So we had Amy on here. Was it a week ago or 2 weeks ago? Time flies, man. Last week.
I think it was last week.
So
it
Amy's
was on
gonna,
Zoom.
Amy's goes to St. Helens High, and she's 16. And I think we're going to get kind of a bigger and bigger St. Helens High audience as time goes on. And what would you say to any young men or women that are thinking about military service as a place to go after high school? What would you say to them right now?
The military is something that you may not want to do it at first, because I know when I first decided to join, I really didn't want to go to the military because I grew up in that environment, so I already kind of had an idea of what it was going to be like. But everybody's military experience is going to be different. Some people are not going to like it, some people will like it. But if you're thinking about giving it a shot, give it a shot.
It's worth the risk.
It is. The benefits you get out of even just doing a 4-year contract, the benefits that you maintain afterwards, you can't beat it. College tuition, you're getting money for your college tuition, you're getting health benefits while you're in, you're getting housing taken care of, you're getting paid while you're doing it, and you get to learn something that, a skill set that you might not have gotten the chance to learn if you didn't join.
By the way, this isn't a commercial for the military. I just want people to know Chris is a genuine guy, and we were talking about it and just kind of wanted to, really.
It might be a commercial for CZ Landscaping and Excavating, though.
CZ Landscape and Excavation. Landscape and Excavation. CZ Landscape and Excavation, 971-225-2662. Anybody who wants Chris to get out there. So what kind of things, what kind of training do people learn? Come in the military, I don't know anything, what am I going to learn?
So there are so many different jobs available in the military that you can't really name them all. But when I joined, for instance, you take your ASVAB, and once they figure out what your ASVAB score is, they can give you a list of jobs that are available to you based on your ASVAB score. And then you can go through that list of jobs and find one that, if it seems interesting to you, you can pick that job, and you'll go to basic training, you'll do your basic training, then you'll go to your advanced schooling, and you'll get trained in that job. So when I joined, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no idea. All I knew is I wanted to find a job that would benefit me on the civilian side when I did decide to get out. And I never even thought about operating heavy equipment up until that moment. And I saw the job, and I was like, you know what? That's a skill I think I would like to have. So I chose that job, and here I am now. I still love operating heavy equipment.
It's a good moneymaker, I'll tell you. So tell us about, I was talking to Chris about gas mask training. So believe it or not, Kim, people sometimes might use poison gas against our troops.
Yeah.
I mean, if you breathe it,
our loved ones,
you're dead.
Yep.
And so, Chris, don't go into too many secret details. Just kind of tell us the general kind of how is it that you get these guys to realize if they got their masks on right or not?
So it's pretty apparent. So we do a pretty in-depth training with them, showing them how to properly maintain their equipment that they're issued. Because if it's not properly maintained, it's going to fail, and then you're going to know it's going to fail because you're going to start hurting pretty bad. So all the CBRN chamber is, you can go on YouTube and watch videos all day of soldiers going through the CBRN chamber. All it is basically, think of pepper spray, but in a pill form. And then when it's heated up, it turns into a gas, right? So it's an irritant. It makes your eyes water, makes your nose get really congested, start running, makes you cough, you can't talk, you want to throw up.
I'm already feeling the effects right now.
And it's not a comfortable situation, and it sticks on your clothes, and it sticks to your body. So the whole purpose is when we do the initial training, teaching them how to put it on properly, make sure it's tight, make sure it's sealed around their face, and we tell them, if you don't go through this process and you go into the chamber and you start feeling that irritant with your pro mask on, that's because you didn't listen.
Yeah, and that would normally be killing you somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then do people end up with, they get their eyes watering, they can't breathe, they're breathing in, they breathe,
and they start to panic.
I bet. When you can't breathe, that's like number one panic mode.
But it's this CS gas that we use is not permanently harmful. It's just to give you the effect that of the discomfort, right?
Yeah. What are the scars from? I didn't put my gas mask on right when I was in Army training.
But so everybody has a different resistance to the chemicals. So most people, it hits them pretty hard, and they start panicking. They want to try and run out of the door, but when they get in there, they're supposed to make sure their seal's good and they can breathe, and then they do some exercises to get their heart rate up and get them breathing a little bit heavier, and then at a certain point they have to take their pro mask off while they're still inside. and then they're supposed to either sing a song or whatever the instructor's inside to get them to actually breathe it in, to actually feel the full effects of it. Because if you don't feel the full effects of it, you're not going to understand how important it is that your equipment works properly.
Yeah.
And once they go through that process, they go outside and they do what we call the round robin. They walk in a circle, flapping their arms and trying to breathe and blink their eyes to get the CS.
What do they say? The burned hand teaches best. You know? It's like...
don't do what I did.
Yeah. If the sting wasn't so bad, then the lesson may not be learned or something.
Now, I can say this much. In my experience, I've been in the Army for 13 years. I have gone through the CBRN chamber over 50 times.
Wow.
Wow.
So
you breathe it in too, and you go out and do the bird flap?
Yep.
Oh my God.
So
do the bird flap?
Every time that we train for the CBRN chamber, I always go through with my trainees, and I experience it with them just to show them that, you know, it's okay. I've gone through this before. I know it sucks, but it's part of your training. You have to experience it.
That's a good leader right there.
I say that's a leader, right?
That's somebody who takes you through the trenches.
Well, it's like you come on in
the entire time.
What percentage of the time you screwed up? Got 50 times. You put your mask on, then what percentage of the times you go in there and you said, "Oops, I'm dead." If this was nerve gas.
Yeah.
So I've only had one experience, and that was when I was a fresh soldier. So I was within my first year and a half, and we went through the CBRN chamber with my first unit, and I didn't realize that I had a tear on the seal on the bottom of my pro mask because I didn't go through the process properly. So when I got into the CBRN chamber, the gas was coming into the inside of my pro mask, and I could instantly feel it. As soon as I got stopped in one place, I could feel it. My eyes started watering, my nose started running, I started coughing, and I knew something was up, but I just had to sit there and go through the motions, tough it out, because it's temporary.
Well, because you had to. You were in there. You're part of the Army training.
Is it worse with the mask on and a leak, or just not having a mask on? Because it seems like it would almost hold it in there for you if you had a mask with a leak.
It's worse without the mask.
Oh, okay.
But if you have a leak in your mask, depending on how bad it is, it's not.
I imagine you just want to rip it off, though. Anyway,
it's not
at that point.
You're standing there and you're trying your hardest to maintain your composure, but it's not fun.
Yeah.
But you do build, the more and more you do it, you build a resistance to the effects of it. So now that I've done it so much, I can go in to a CBRN chamber with no pro mask on, and I can stay in there the entire time my trainees are in there with no mask on. Wow. And I'm talking to them the whole time. I'm telling them, look, I'm here with no mask. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
that's
every
crazy.
time, and this might sound bad, but it's my favorite thing. As soon as they take that pro mask off and they experience it for the first time, it takes me back to when I had to experience it for the first time. And it makes me laugh every time.
Well, it's good to find pleasure in one's job, Kim. Even if it means, what do you call them? What are they, grunts or something in the Army? Grunts, trained plebes, whatever it is. We're going to get to the part where you get to, okay, so I'll give you a little story, tiny story. I was in this place once where it was in the mountains, and, we had some bear spray for defense, and the bear was breaking in. I could hear him breaking in. He was breaking in the window. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to say to our listening audience, do not spray bear pepper spray in the house. So I sprayed the bear pepper spray, and I think the bear was gone, and I sprayed it because I was panicked. And then all of a sudden I'm breathing in the bear pepper spray, and my eyes watered, and I was coughing, and I had to run out of the house because I couldn't breathe anymore.
And then you're like, where's the bear?
I'm outside the house now with the bear.
Yeah. You just like a nightmare to your own.
Yes. So,
like in a movie right now.
Running outside, my eyes watering, I'm coughing, and then I'm thinking, I'm outside with the bear. I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
But So
wait, did it break into your house?
Yes, it did.
Wow.
It broke in through the window. It was coming in through the window.
Dang.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, but that's another story for another day.
Another show.
Yes, another show.
When animals go crazy.
So, Chris, do you mind? You shared with me something last night about just a recent situation that you ended up moving your family in with your family, right? You moved back in with your
with my mother-in-law.
With your mother-in-law,
yeah.
Okay. And do you mind if we share that a little bit on the show here?
That's fine.
Okay. So I understand you had a situation. Let's keep all the names out of it. We're here to just talk about a situation. We're not here to talk about people and stuff. So you had a situation. Well, I understand that you and your wife both work, and she's working and you're working and you're trying to do your business, and you're getting money from the Army, and then I understand that your rent ended up going up, and then you and your wife had to make the decision to move out of your place with your kids and move back into your mother-in-law's place, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And your rent went up pretty good, right? I think it was like $110 or $150 a month, something like that. Your rent went up.
So our rent originally was $11.50 a month for a 2-bedroom little duplex, and we found out that the rent was going up. But because of me taking care of the property and fixing stuff up, I was able to keep my rent somewhat lower than what everybody else was going to be getting. But the rent was supposed to go up to just over $1,500 a month.
Wow! So from $1,100 to $1,500 a month. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, but you guys got a break on that because you were taking care of the yards and stuff, right?
Correct.
All right. And then, but you and God, I can't read the name of what's your wife's name? Tanya. Sorry, you and Tanya decided, this is still going to be too much. We're going to need to go someplace else.
Yeah, because even with me working full time, making over $20 an hour, and her working a full time job, and my military pay, and having the 2 kids and having to put groceries in the fridge all the time and pay all the extra utilities and car payment, insurance, cell phone, everything just added up to more than what we were making a month. And then with rent on top of that going up, it was well outside our budget at that point. So we had no choice. We had to make a decision and move in with family to be able to get us into a more stable financial position.
So, did you talk to the landlord and say this is too much? We can't quite swing this? Or?
And we did talk to the landlord about it, and we told him it was a bit much, and he was willing to work with us, which I definitely appreciated. But it wasn't. He still wasn't able to bring it down enough for it to be feasible for us. So we told him, hey, we appreciate you trying to work with us, but we still can't afford that. So we had no choice. We had to move out.
Okay. And so, I always said, I honestly tell you the truth, it's kind of a common phenomenon, even in my family. It totally
is.
Like right now, my kids, my son and his girlfriend live at our house, and my daughter's coming back with her boyfriend's soon-to-be fiancé, I hope.
It's so expensive to move anywhere because you have to come up with a deposit, which is usually like first, last, plus deposit. So then you're looking at like $5-6 grand to even just move.
Yeah.
And then it's the rent every month is like so much higher than it used to be. It's really hard for families. It's just getting higher and higher.
I kind of like it, actually. I kind of like living with my kids, and I always told my kids, I want to live like the Asians. So if I get all my Asian people, I hope you're not too angry, but they got generations of people living together, and that dynamic though is a very practical one.
Very family oriented.
Very family oriented, but I think it's one that we should be thinking. I'm not saying this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that moving in with one's family or in-laws, if you can get along, save some money, not necessarily a bad thing. But now, how many people? But I want to kind of return to this story about what went on at your place there. Was there more than one unit that ended up with the rent increase?
Yeah, everybody who lived in those duplexes, all the rent went up.
Okay. And were a lot of those people, as far as you knew, people that were working and working to support their families?
I do know that there was at least 2 people in the four separate duplexes. There was at least 2 families in there that actually I knew for sure had jobs and went out and worked. I can't say so much for anybody else because I was working so much at the time that the only time I was at home was at night. So I was home for dinner and on the weekends. And
I know that you checked with Tanya last time we were talking, but so everybody across the board gets rent increases, right?
Yeah.
And then how many people ended up moving because of these rent increases or shortly thereafter?
I know me and at least one other group ended up moving out.
Okay. And was one of those people that you know that were working there?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you happen to kind of hear, who ended up coming in there? Were these people that are being subsidized by a group or a government?
I do know that there was a couple people in our duplex area that were getting financial assistance for rent and utilities.
Okay. What about the people who took over your place? Same kind of thing?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure, though. Okay. I never actually got to meet the new tenants. I see them all the time, but never got to actually meet them.
But you think that they probably came in under subsidized? Yeah?
Most likely, yeah.
Okay. So, it's kind of someone to springboard in this conversation is that we got a lot of folks here that are trying to help other people get into, you hear of, we're trying to housing crisis and trying to help people out. And so we got a lot of people that are trying to help people who otherwise may not be able to afford to live in St. Helens. Mm-hmm. And so, we've got...
Or anywhere. It's like, honestly, we're pretty comparable to a lot of places out here. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Even the, like Rainier and Clatskanie, those are all going up, too.
Yeah, and then I guess I'm trying to... we got our local station here, and I'm really sort of thinking about St. Helens, and I'm thinking about the power of the government and the power of nonprofits to affect a market in a small town like St. Helens. Mm-hmm. We got like 15,000 people here, and if these subsidized companies or whatever, these nonprofits and the government, NOAA and some other people, start pushing on the market, what can happen is the people who are working end up getting pushed out. Like for me, I've got 12 rental units, okay? And I say NOAA's a great tenant. And the reason why NOAA's a great tenant is, first of all, they pay more. I can get more money from NOAA than I can from a person that's working.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, a lot more. And then also, if there's a problem with the tenant, NOAA works it out. NOAA, my rental agency calls NOAA, and they deal with the tenant. And I don't have to deal. I don't have to take it to court. NOAA.
You get the money for it. Yeah.
Well, they deal with the tenant. So if the tenant needs sometimes things come up. People, their situations occur, and they help manage the situation where people can move to a different spot that might be more appropriate for them at the time. And then if there's damage, NOAA pays. So, if they leave. Now, it doesn't happen very often, now and again. So I guess my point is that from a landlord's perspective, and then also, I'm going to give a little secret out here, but I prefer, if I can, to rent to people who are working. And the reason is that I want to be able to support somebody who's actually going out and working.
Yeah.
But the law, I got to be careful even what I say, because the law is, if you in any way discriminate, you can get yourself in trouble. And so, like, if I even offer a place for less money to somebody that works,
that could be discriminatory.
Yeah. So I said, I'd rather have you in because you're working, right? You're Chris, you're out there hustling, you work full time. I'll cut you a rent break. That technically may be against the law. And so I guess I'm trying to talk. I was talking last night with Chris we're hanging out at the Elks, and I was listening to the stories about the military and thinking what a great guy he is, and then he tells me about the situation. And now we're kind of coming into a little bit of our political discussion.
Yep.
But the political piece is I think we need to balance and be sure that we are balancing the financial strength of the government programs to where they aren't pushing our people out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Chris is a guy, grew up here.
Yeah.
Military veteran.
Military.
He's still in the reserves.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had war right now, you ever heard calling up the reserves?
Mm-hmm.
See you, Chris. Good luck out there. Hope you're trained well.
Yep.
Those are the first calling up the reserves. They're the first ones to go.
Yep.
And he's got a wife. He's got kids. So you got him, his wife working, got his 2 kids, and he's working, and then he has this big rent increase, and he's pushed out by a program to help people get housing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the government creating homelessness. I mean, if you think about it, the government and nonprofits are making the people who are working homeless because they can't afford the housing, and then so in a way you're creating
it forces them to apply for the program.
Exactly.
Because they can't afford the rent, so they're like, how else would we even live on our own? So then they go apply for it. So then there's more people on the program.
More people on it, but then the problem, what I hear is that people go to apply. So what happens is Chris can't afford the rent, because his rent goes up. So he's competing with the United States of America, or he's competing with some nonprofit that gets tons of money from people thinking, I'm going to do good, I'm going to write checks to nonprofits, right? And so the nonprofit's doing what it does. So Chris and his family, are displaced. And how does a person compete with that? You know what I mean? How does it?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just
You're
thought
kind of powerless, especially because as someone who rents, I'm a tenant. I don't have any power to be like, I only want my rent increased this much this year because I didn't get a raise. I mean, you don't always get that increase with the rent increase.
And that's the other thing is it's not just the rent's going up, it's the pay that you're getting from work. They're not able to keep up with how much everything else is increasing.
Yeah, with the inflation of everything.
So the money you're making isn't able to keep up with the amount of cost, the general cost of living.
Well, yeah, like a basket of groceries used to cost, you could get it for, you use the small cart at Safeway, you can still fill it up for over $100. Like, it's insane. It's at least doubled. Like, I am a coupon person now because of it, because it's just insane.
And
how expensive.
Me and Tanya just went grocery shopping the other day, and we didn't even get a full basket of groceries. We only got 30 items, maybe. And it cost us $165.
It's so expensive to feed.
Yeah, so the amount his rent went up is 2 baskets of groceries.
Yeah.
And so from me, from the landlord's perspective,
mm-hmm.
I feel like I could confidently raise my rent, and I'm going to get a tenant from the government, and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
No.
See, I'm thinking, okay, if I've got
it's more stability for you as a landlord because you know that there's always going to be someone to rent to.
It's always going to be on time.
Yeah.
And the money's going to be there on time.
There's so many people on their list of that need housing.
Not only more stability, more money.
Yeah.
I mean, so you think about, okay, you got 12 units, right? And so you raise across the board the max. And then you're probably going to get it if you've got government that's doing it. So I don't operate like that. I'm talking personally me. Like I work with people. I try to, I guess I'm a chump because I probably can make a lot more money. But to me, it's like, no. We're just going to raise a little bit. You know what I mean? I like these people. We're not going to do that. But not everybody operates like that.
And it's also, I mean, like if you did operate like that, you would probably have more people coming in and out in between too. Because then they're like, oh, I can afford it now. And then what if one of them loses a job? Then they can't afford it. It's like money's so tight right now for families, and it's tough to not have two incomes.
So then on top of that, you figure most people nowadays don't even have a viable savings account to have that to fall back on. A lot of people don't have $4,000 or $5,000 in their account to buy them through a month if an emergency happens. Yeah. So if something does happen, say a hospital bill comes up and it's $2-3 grand for a hospital bill, now they got to decide, okay, do we pay the car payment? Do we pay the cell phone? Do we pay rent? Mm-hmm. What can we sacrifice to make sure that the healthcare needs are getting taken care of, or the car broke down? Most people don't have the savings nowadays to back themselves up in case of an emergency, and that's another big problem.
So we got so people who are working out there, like you and Kim, on me, really, frankly. But people who are working out and are competing in this rental market, this tight housing market, one of your biggest competitors is the government. And how do you compete against the government? When you're not just competing in the pool of people who are working, and everybody's got maybe $1,000 a month, $1,200 a month, whatever the market is. Mm-hmm. That's how much I can afford for rent, which is. There's a line. Most people kind of hit that line, and that's what dictates the rental market. Mm-hmm. But instead, you are competing against you're competing against the government and nonprofits that can just pay anything.
Yeah.
And so then then what happens is that it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where these nonprofits can come in and start taking away housing from the people that actually work here. And so this is a conversation that just kind of struck me. I want to bring up with you, Chris, and talk to you about your life and your new business. But and we also have people that nonprofits buy property, and so you got a guy like Chris and Tanya that may be looking for their first house, and then you got nonprofits that goes out and buys houses. And then to rent. And so now you're competing against nonprofits. So that drives the sales market up. And so one of the things I was talking about, Chris heard me talking about actually with Councilor Russ Hubbard on our way over here, is we probably need to start looking at this and decide, should we be studying this and determining, okay, we've got enough of this that we cannot continue to go on in St. Helens and have these the people that, or these organizations that operate outside of the market drive our market, because what will happen is that our hardworking people aren't going to have a place to live, or it's going to be too expensive. 3 minutes? No way. We're having such a good. I'm on my soapbox, Chris. So I'm thinking that we're. I think we're kind of like, when you're driving along, you got your oil light, comes on. There's no warning signs. And I guess one of the points I'm trying to make on this show, and talk to Chris a little bit about it, is that a small town like St. Helens can be overwhelmed by nonprofits and government subsidies. We can be taken over by it.
Yeah.
And our destiny. We aren't going to be able to forge our own destiny. We need to be careful about that. We need to start watching. We need to have this discussion. That's my opinion. What do you think about that, Kim?
I think that your opinion matters.
Thank you so much,
You're
Kim.
welcome.
That's exactly. You got one more day on the job. I thought I was going to have to fire you right before Christmas.
I know.
Okay, so listen, CZ Landscaping and CZ Landscape and Excavation, 971-225-2662. Chris, thank you so much for coming in
Get
today.
him to do your
Thanks for having
yard.
me.
Oh, he's gonna do my yard. He's my
do the
man. Are
yard.
you kidding me? We're gonna move some rocks, and you're dude. I'm gonna be on contract with you. You're my man. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service,
Nice meeting
local
you.
guy.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Chris. It was so nice meeting you. And I don't know if are we almost done? Is it this figgy pudding?
Yeah.
One more minute.
One more minute.
Okay. I know.
I gotta roll some silverware. I'm
Chris,
putting away
do you have all your
dishes.
shopping house? Do you have your Christmas shopping done? You and
All
Tanya?
done.
Oh my God!
Wow.
How old are your kids, Chris?
10 and 4.
Oh my
10 and
God!
4, that's fun.
Tanya's great too, by the way. I'm gonna have Tanya, and she get. I don't know what happens at the Elks stays at the Elks. I kind of want to hear about what's going on in the kitchen, but.
Doesn't everybody want to know?
I could tell you something. There could be some stories to tell. Tanya's a firecracker. She really is.
That's fun.
She's a good person. So you got everything done, and then have your kids been good? Is Santa going to come to your home? You think, Chris? Predictably, what do you think?
They'll find out come Christmas morning.
I know. Who knows? Hopefully Santa's going to come. They're going to find
Do you
out.
guys leave out cookies and milk?
Yep.
Yep.
How about you, Kim?
Yeah, of course I do. Santa's
know.
coming. I always
know.
have to feed Santa.
I know. Me too. I mean, it's.
He loves cookies. He loves brownies. He loves candy.
I love the Santa gifts. They're like my favorite gifts when Santa comes. And although I've been a little naughty this year, some people might
You probably aren't getting any presents.
I know. Santa will not come. I think I've got some coal.
Get the lump of coal.
I think I've got a few lumps of coal.
We're wrapping it up.
Okay,
wrapping
we're
it
gonna
on
have to
up
wrap
today.
it up. Let's say Merry Christmas,
Merry
Tammy.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Brady. Merry Christmas, St. Helens. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas.
You've been listening to St. Helens Town Talk Cafe with Steve Toski. You can email your comments on the show to Steve in care of kohi.radio@gmail.com. And be sure to listen again next time for another St. Helens Town Talk Cafe radio show on KOHI.